Okay, let's add some reason scheduling it seems to piss it off. I have no idea. Anyway, whatever. I'm here now, I guess. I think. I don't know. We'll see if it crashes. Let me get this set up here real quick. I did read the couple of questions that were left in the other one, so I'll get to it just a second. Ah, it looks like just in the week and a half since I did this last, YouTube has changed the menu. I love that. Wow. Wow. There's a lot more options under the more options thing now. I don't know if any of them are useful. Probably not, at least not to me, but more is better, right? All right, I got the little pop up thing I like, so I'm gonna walk around. If I cut out, because Bluetooth, just to let me know and I'll walk back in. And hopefully the computer doesn't do the out of memory leak error thing. Forewarning though, yeah, that's what we were working on last time. I did, Google research it, and apparently it's just a known bug when you combine YouTube's Studio, Chrome, and PC. So yeah, I did a few things like reinstalling the YouTube thing on Chrome and wiping all history and presets and just resetting everything, and that's what worked last time. We'll see if it works this time. Oh, definitely right. It shows me why I would never have wanted to go into like computer sciences. I don't think I'd have the patience for it nonstop. Anywho, how is everyone? I'm at the cabin on the porch. I just walked outside. Peanut's not out with me, but I left the window open so she can sit in the window, which is just like a foot behind me. So that should suffice. I know someone asked, and I forget the name. I apologize about buying a DS Arms Cuban FAL, and I still like mine a lot. I pointed out a couple of things that could be a little better on it, but they're absolutely not deal breakers and things you can do yourself. Like, for example, swapping the handguard. I can't report anything bad. Yes, at least mine or was on a cast receiver, but I don't care. I mean, FN guns in the 80s were cast receivers too, so fine. I mean, obviously, if you said you want a cast or a forge and everything's equal, yeah, I'll take forged. But my South African R1 is on a cast receiver too, so it's not an absolute no for me. There have been plenty of good, like Kunins cast receivers made, and honestly, the DS arms are fine too. So I like it if you're looking kind of for that Type B appearance. Sierra, sup? Just hanging out on the porch. Had a long day. Nothing bad, just worked all day, and I should be video editing, but it's like I wanted to do something that felt productive and not just be lazy, but I don't have the juice. I've been working on videos straight for like 3 days, and I'm kind of tuckered out. Randy, Yo, Scott. Hey, Robert. Hello, Simone. It's hard to watch a video like this when people are texting the shit out of you. I'm not texting you. Is anyone else texting him? If so, don't do that. Apparently, swamp. Uh, I, technically evening here. The sun has set, even though it is still ridiculously hot for mid-October. It still doesn't change. The sun does set earlier and earlier, and it's kind of weird. At user and then my speech just kind of threw up a white flag. Sorry. You're asking about the Circle 11 kits from AOA. I do not know. I have never, and I'm not dogging on them. The Circle 11 kits have had never held any interest for me because they're just, you know, commercial Polish kits. Unless you mean like Circle 11 is in like the real original Luxnick factory from the 50s, 60s, but there is also the Circle 11 brand. And so when you say that, that's kind of what I think of now. Sierra. Yeah, Windows 10 is pretty much. I'm going to be honest, I actually like 11 more than 10. That's just me. When I was running 10, I found it to be less stable overall with my speech. I do find that 11 at least doesn't like freeze up on me. It has quirks, but usually at the very least I can get to the point where I can hit restart and not have to literally just hold down the power button for 8 seconds. Michael Birdsong. Yeah, I kind of feel you. I wouldn't say I'm burnt out, but I'm circling the drain pretty close to it. The Mischief Guide. Yes, the Brielle is excellent. If you're wanting a modern AK, obviously if someone's got their heart set on a classic AK, the Brielle's not going to do it. But for what it is, it's great. Yeah, and I'm hoping one day we'll see some grots too. Scott, I think you mentioned that drum. Is that the AR drum you're talking about last week? Michael Birdsong. Yeah, Norinco Interstate Arms. Yeah. I mean, honestly, importers are fine. None of them are better or worse. A Norinco is a Norinco. Scott. Yeah. Looked at the LWRC. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it because those all came out of the same IC program, 2012, 2013. They all have such similar features that you just kind of pick the one that you like best. User. Yeah, user talking about SKSs in Chinese. Dating them is convoluted. There are no 100% firm ways. There are some really good rules of thumb and whatnot, but there's always outliers, especially when you get to the earlier ones. So yeah, Scott. Yep, the AR drum. I remember. Michael's super excited. Sierra. The problem, Sierra, is well, you see it with RT, Royal Tiger IO. even when new surplus comes in, what condition is it going to be in? Because I mean, it's aging every year that goes by, and we've kind of already taken the surplus from all the nations that were taking really great care of it. The mischief. Yeah. Um. Again, I like the Sam Five. I I can't say the internet doing internet thing on it was 100% unwarranted, but it was. I know this is going to be a shocker, so sit down. It was overblown. Yeah, the internet overreacted. Skinwalker. Talking about the Caracal. I'm interested. You mentioned G36. The C36 user. Okay, so what year are those Circle 11 kits, user? Sierra. Yep. And what's the machine? If it makes you feel better, it could be worse. They could have used that clause to declare M1 carbines machine guns, so I guess small mercies. Scott, some of the same five. Yep, like I said, some, but it's one of those things where they took a legit issue, blew it out, and then of course Arsenal took what could have been something relatively easy to address and did the Arsenal thing. But come on, let's be honest. Is anyone remotely surprised how Arsenal handled that situation? Hoo hoo. This is where I got a plug. If anyone wants to make a donation, that'd be good. But anyway, actually, I just pulling out here. A friend found a infield bayonet for me. It's one of the number 7 land services bayonets. It's the kind that has the rotating hilt. Honestly, it's a really cool, unique design. It's also terrible, but it's terrible from a military production standpoint, not from a collector standpoint. So I think it was a pretty good deal. It came with a regular Brit scabbard with the canvas frog. It does make me want to do another infield number 4, and for that matter, Sten Mark 5 bayonet video, though. Okay, Scott, it gets even more confusing. You've got Arsenal, Bulgaria. Then you had Arsenal USA down in Texas, which became Armory USA. And then you have Arsenal Incorporated Las Vegas. Skinwalker. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd be more upset with Arsenal products if I really got any lemons. I mean, I've had a few things like I think Jay once got a top cover on one of the cranks that was riveted weird. We never sent it back. He just re-riveted it, and I got an SAS M7 Classic that didn't have the detent on the front sight base, the plunger. Again, I didn't send it back. I just asked them, "Hey, send me the part and I'll install it." Not only did they send the part, they actually thanked me for not causing them to have to pay for shipping. So I've had a few minor QC things like that over the years, but they've all been pretty fixable. Sierra, parts kits, handguns. Yeah, well, I mean, there is technically those PM63s. Those are kind of parts kits, handguns. I know it's not the same. The Mischief Guide. How common were Type 2 AKs? I don't know if anyone. I've got a loose number, but I don't know how much I trust it. They only made them for a few years. Here's the problem: Type 1 to Type 2, Type 3. You can look at the receivers, but then on top of that, there are transitional ones where you can say this is a Type 1 receiver, Type 2 receiver. Then you look at like say the gas piston. Some late Type 1s and early Type 2s shared gas pistons. My Type 3 kit build actually has Type 2 furniture because they use it. It's muddled, but the truth is the Type 1 and the Type 2 were almost low rate pre-production models, at least compared to the Type 3 once it got knocking about around 53, 54, and that's where they just dumped them, in the millions. User? Okay, a 1968 kit would have the earlier style kind of speckled grip. It would be kind of a brownish speckled with white. That's assuming it's got the original grip. Then they went to the kind of later backlight. The fat black ones did not appear till the 90s, and then the kind of wider Bakelite ones, to my knowledge, didn't appear to maybe the channel, or at least very like 80s AKM. But a 68 should have kind of the original grip with the concave checkering, assuming the original wasn't lost and replaced. Michael Birdsong. Well, yeah, that's just everything has its day, man. Things come and go. Of course, collections turn over. I mean, they presumably outlived their people, so they're here. Look at it this way too. It's still better for those guns to end up over here because a lot of foreign countries, their fate would be far less grand. Skinwalker Ranch. I'm just hungry. Yeah, like I said, I've got a number for Type 2 production, like a rough estimate based on a few factors in my notes, but I wouldn't super trust it. It wasn't very high, like 200,000. I know that sounds like a lot, but Russian production in the millions, yeah, even a quarter million's a small number for them. Oh yeah, Type 3's absolutely hands down more common. User? Yeah, the blued finish white bolt. It was a transitional step too. They kept on bluing to about 69, and then they went to a paint finish for the receiver, and they kept the white bolt for like just a hair longer. But then you get into the 70s, and the bolt and the white and the blue finish are both gone, replaced by the Radom paint that they've used for quite a long time. Hardwood also gets replaced by laminate. Scott, what do I think about them bringing back the Gen 1 Galossus? Nothing, because I didn't know they had. I don't really follow IWI that much though, so but doesn't surprise me. IWI does limited runs all the time. Diamonds and wood. Uh, Yeah, I did. I was talking about a infield number 4 bayonet, but uh, I mean recommendations. I don't know. I've done quite a few videos. That's probably the best thing. I mean they're fun. There aren't near as many variations as there are with other things. The number 4 Mark twos seem to be probably the best if you're looking for a good condition, good shooter. They don't have quite the history of the number 4 Mark ones though. So, and then you get some people that really love the long branch Mark One stars or the Savage Mark One stars. Clark. Ah, yeah, damn it, guys! I almost wanted to say that a few minutes ago. Let's take bets. Even have a poll before someone comments on the camera. Darn it, I should have said it. Iron Horse. What AK is the best to buy now? Well, depends what you want. Give me at least a couple of criteria. Sierra. Um, you're typed it. You're typed it. You're. Yeah, I said I was tired. You're tempted by PSA's Type 56. I mean, okay. Uh, it's up to you. I guess it just depends what you want. You know my opinions on the PSA. User. I don't know how much are those kits. User. Diamonds. You're welcome. Yeah, the 308s are usually in pretty good shape. Not 100% all the time, but usually. They're kind of cool because they were the last like major service infield used by power, and they're not just conversions. They're actually factory new guns, and they did see at least military issuance during the wars with Pakistan. They also were used by police. I'm not going to say they were frontline, but it wouldn't shock me if at least a couple of them somehow managed to do something. But they were legitimate variants and one of the last infields out there, really. You can listen to the cicadas and the crickets. In the summertime, they're pretty loud, but towards the end of summer, should be, and now to the fall, they kind of quieten down and become quite relaxing. The same friend also bought me a Japanese Type 30 bayonet today. Yeah, I mean about the AUG, it just endures. Others come and go. The Tavor, man, the Tavor was just that was all the rage, and now you never hear about him at all. I still think the Hellion is a good one. Of course, it never got quite the hype, and that's fine. I'd rather have a gun be kind of a sleeper than get overhyped and just get sick of hearing about it. Scott. Oh yeah, those wire wrapped grenade guns. They were kind of cool. Look, even the real nice ones, when people unwrap the wire, they're not nice under there sometimes. But I would never unwrap the wire. I'd leave them alone. Sean, there's number 2. Yep, the 2A1. I mean, they're infield heavy. They're not really any more heavy. I like the 12 shot mag. That's kind of cool. Although purportedly there are 10 shots too. As far as bayonet for the number five, yeah, I can't help you there. They're out there, but you just gotta snap them up when you find them. Skinwalker salad time. Eh? Mac 90s are out there, and there's a lot of them. So just kind of keep your eyes peeled. User. I mean, that's up to you if you want a kit build. I mean, you can get a WBP, but I don't know. It's just hard to get excited about AKs right now for me. I'll be honest with you. Iron Horse. Well, you can find it for 11.50. I mean, it's a good deal. Obviously, someone needed money and pawned a gun. So someone took a bath on that because they were never that cheap. Sierra. Are they the kind of Chinese Tokarevs that have the dingus on the safety? Well, the dingus safety on the trigger, I should say. Mischief Guide. Yeah, I don't know. I'm, I'm not lifting your 2A1. I mean, they're when I pick mine up, it doesn't really strike me as any heavier than any other number one Mark III infield. Scott. Well, maybe movie use, but also like you said, there's so many parts and accessories. It is well supported. It's been here for almost 50 years. I was doing the math in my head, almost, and I don't think it's gone anywhere. I'll just call you Bed Juice Box. What does juice box mean? I do not know. Sean. I mean, honestly, instead of getting a PSA fake Type 56, I'd look for a Mac 90 and do that. Spike it or do something else. I've seen some really nice Mac 90s made into underfolders. Yeah, not all were marked Mac 90, and some were marked very lightly too. Shooter Observer. Honestly, 1800 for right now. I mean, that seems a little high to me considering the economy, but your mileage may vary. Skinwalker. Yep, the grout would be really cool, especially if they get support material to convert it and do things with it. Time will tell. I don't think the grout bullpup's going to dethrone the AUG. The AUG is just too well established, too recognized. It's a good company. Steyer's got the money to support it. They keep developing it with the M2 and the recent 9mm kits. It might help in the market, but I don't think it's going to do that. Sierra. I can pretty much tell you with pretty good confidence that yes, you would pay 2,500 for a grab. Like that's just going to be the price. The 9x19 Chinese Tukarev was a commercial gun sent over here. Honestly, different importers use different names all the time. I think one of them was under the M213 name or 219. I never. They change so frequently. Scott. I don't even know why FN kept the SCAR going as long as it did. As soon as it didn't get any traction in America, that gun's days were numbered. Simon, I mean, DSA's receivers are both forged and investment cast, and they tell you which is which. They offer both forged and cast. User. The Polish kits are nice. It's just a matter how nice the build ends up being. That makes sense. Sierra. I mean, it is kind of an ACR. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Hot take. I kind of like the ACR more than the Scar. Sierra. Iron Horse. I like the Hellion. Maybe it's because I went into it expecting pretty little. Just didn't have a whole lot going in. So it surprised me. It's still not better than the AUG, but so what? I like it. It's good. Simon. Ugh, I swear I didn't start yawning till doing this video. Yeah, I always thought the adjustable link to pull on a bullpup was neat. I love the kind of G36 style upper, the charging handle, the rail, the fact that it has iron sides. The truth is, while it's not the bestest, most amazing thing ever, there's nothing about it I really hate. And I really think it's cool that a little nation like Croatia made their own bullpup. Is it based on the FAMAS? Officially, no, but we all know the truth. But still, they're doing more for themselves than a lot of Western European nations, and I gotta salute that. Sierra, how about we just get Croatia HS product to just make us a FAMAS? You know they could. Iron Horse. Uh, what's my favorite gun? Top Gun? I don't know. Scott. Yeah, I mean, again, I know the G36 is not perfect, but I still really like it. And so the fact that the Hellion BHS gets from it. Sierra. So yeah, if you're gonna send it off to get built, then you got to factor in that cost of building, and it's just how much money you want to put into it. Joey, if you sell a rifle to the gun shop, why don't they get 50% of its worth? First off, who's telling you what the gun's worth? Secondly, obviously they have to make money. Some gun shops are honest, some aren't. I mean, I don't know which gun shop you're selling it to. I definitely would admit if they offered you $500 and you come in the next day and they've got your old gun on the wall for $999, yeah, that's kind of shitty. Tokyo Express. I have no books of any kind. Sierra. Well, at least you got the handy. I'm gonna go throw a cup of coffee on. I've still got a lot of stuff I need to do today, and I think it's this heat. I'm gonna blame the heat. I don't like it. The nights are cool out here in the mountains. As soon as the sun goes down, it gets really nice, like it should be. But what is it? Hmm? Uh huh. Yes, I know it. It is hard being you. Exactly. Uh huh. Now here's the thing. I fed you before doing this, so don't even act like it. No, no, Peanut. If I fed you all the time you wanted, you would be out of food in 2.5 days, and then you would really not be happy. No, you cannot go out and hunt. No, you're not a good hunter. No, there are bears out there and coyotes. No, they're not afraid of you. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, I don't care what Oscar told you. They're not afraid of you. No, go to your window. That's a good place for you. Mhm. Ah, what are you doing? I wish you guys could just talk back at me instead of me having to have my speech read what you say. That'd be easier. Yeah, Tokyo. Yeah, that, and I'm gonna be honest. Not every single book. There are some good ones. So many books put a lot more effort into photographs than they do text. Yeah, I'm an FFL, and no, I don't have a website. Long convoluted story as to why, but Simone, I'm gonna be 100% honest with Polish kit builds. Personal opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. I understand the desire to want the original Trunnion marking. I do. But since WBPs are available, I would get one of those because especially if you get one that has the FB rate and barrel. But if you're wanting like a Russian AKM, then you kind of have to go the kit build route because there's no import option. Again, this is just my personal opinion. Absolutely no, I'm not right. I'm also not wrong. It's just opinion. Bed. Made a noise. My speech later went, ugh. You kind of made it sound like my speech was either pooping or rubbing one out. I'm not sure which is more disturbing. Moving on, Simone. Kind of orange and black. Yep, that's Halloween. Bed. Mm-hmm. Sierra. I would love shotguns to become cool again. You know what I want someone to bring back? The trench gun. Like the 97 Winchester copies, but do it good. Like we had those Chinese ones, and when you got a nice one, they were good, but they never they weren't all that in a bag of potato chips. I want a good one. I would also love to see a Remington 870 Mark One style, either factory Remington, that'd be optimal, or maybe someone else could like modify one. The long, like 21-inch barrel rifle sights with the bayonet lug and the long tube. Kind of a cool look. Does my Romanian have the original fire control group? No, not now. I eventually just put but there was a deal Centerfire had ages ago where you bought like just Romanian parts, just a big box, and there were tons of Romanian semi-automatic trigger packs in there, so I used one of those. But that said, no, it never really had trigger slap. I don't know why. It never did. User, look, user, the WBP will too. If that's what you're worried about, the bolt, the trunnion, the carrier, I swear to you, it will. I swear to you, the internet's full of horse shit whenever you read all that stuff. And if you listen to me, I'm not 100% confident on a lot of things. And of course, nothing is 100% sure in life. But as sure as anything can be, I trust a BBP. I really do. User, Sierra. Yeah, so I had that Ithaca trench gun that I sold when I got the original, and I look back at what they used to go for. I was like $1,200 new, and so I put it up for like 11 buy now and a starting price of like 700 because I had no freaking idea they'd gone up that much because I was trying to be honest with someone, like give them a good deal, use shotgun. But you know what? Guy seems super happy. I hope he really likes it. He said he cares about being on the videos here. So yeah, hey, I passed him my deal. I didn't mean to, but I may have done the same thing even if I'd known. I had no idea they'd shot up in value so much. User, I've had no issues with actual WBP guns, not parts bought off a website and put together. Actual bought it from the factory. It was imported as a rifle, a jack, a fox. I've had no trouble with the actual WBP guns. Part of it is I think half the parts actually being sold as WBP online are not. I think half of them are fake. They're probably from Poland, but there's other factories. Another thing, when someone sells parts, they're just parts. When someone sells a rifle, it goes through proof testing, fitting, quality control, and that process tends to weed out any weak parts. In fact, I'll say this: if whatever, I, if you want to order one through me, I'll guarantee the WBP. Like if it breaks on you, I'll take it back. I do believe in them as much as I believe in anything. Of course, with the caveat that I was in the channel, every company, H&K included, and FN and everyone makes a lemon, but outside of that range, nah. Uh, I'm not trying to be cagey, but I can't really talk about the Atlantic Asian contract stuff. They just don't want to get in trouble with anyone or upset anyone or let things go. So yeah, um, I do know where they're out of, but it was something that was asked not to be said. Are they being a little paranoid? Yeah, probably. But I was asked, so that's just kind of how I roll. But I can say they're legitimate. So yeah, Well, I guess Lemon Grenade got tired of the Zastava, or are you talking about him and Zastava? But it wouldn't shock me if he got bored there and moved over to WBP, frankly. I mean, Zastavas have been imported as complete guns for almost 20 years now. EAA did them, then Century did them, and now Zastava USA did them. The only ones that even remotely questionable were the Century guns, and that's because Century got their stink all over 'em. But even those are mostly all good to go. Simone. Yep. One cool thing about the Polish bandits, you'll notice they don't have the saw teeth. There. If you look on your blade, they don't have them. Tokyo, you know your name is making me hungry. I really actually like Japanese food. Yeah, the Asian contract guns were something that I didn't know I needed until I got one. And remember that video Jay and I did a long time ago where we had targets of Kim Jong Un printed out and we shot at them? It reminds me of that. Good times. They absolutely feel like something straight out of some gulag in some mountain where someone had to make 50 guns in order to get a small cup of rice to eat for the day. Oh, I got it. Khyber Pass. Remember when the Khyber Pass guns were coming in about 2000, 6, 7, 8? Those Asian contract guns, some of the ways, like especially the wood is made, reminds me of Khyber Pass. Maybe a nice Khyber Pass, still Khyber Pass. Anyway, if anyone wants to, toss in a couple of bucks, that's fine. If not, I get it too. I had to pay taxes. That was great. Whenever you run a small business, whenever you do your taxes, you never get a return. It's always paying out. I will blaspheme whoever the fuck I want. That said, oh, Kim would love me. I'd have him eating out of the palm of my hand. Again, I'm good with dolphins too. I just wanted to give a reminder again, if I disappear, go quiet about the whole memory leak thing. I may have fixed it last weekend, I may not have. So if I pop out on you, I apologize. I hate when that happens, but what's really bad is on my end, I don't know it for like 5 or 10 minutes either. So I'm just sitting here answering questions, talking, and thinking you guys hear me. Yeah, it sucks. I don't know. Hopefully the steps I took fixed it, but what do we do? Computers for you. You know what I want someone to acquire? Romanian 545 RPKs. I think it comes up. That's one I really do want. I say this because one of the videos, well, a couple I'm doing, I found in the back of my old storage building an ammo can, like the old 30 cal cans, pretty well full of Wolf 545 ammo. So I brought some out to shoot. So kind of just a 545 Draco would be my second choice. That'd be pretty awesome too, especially if the $0 SBRs happen next year. That'd be a badass SBR. User. Zastavas are not banned. Sierra. Yep, they have both a fixed stocked version and a folder. The folder is exactly what you expect, the wire folder. The fixed stock's a little different. It actually has a little flippy uppy butt plate. And they feed from a 40 round mag, not 45. And it's been a steal. User. Well, I don't know if Atlantic's planning on doing more Russian builds. I don't know. I sure like mine. I've got that one that got a few years ago. It's children's receiver, radom barrel. It's a really nice, smooth feeling gun. And it was pretty much all matching. I think there were like some small parts that didn't match, like maybe the recoil spring guide, but the big parts matched. Sierra. I mean, there definitely have been Zastava supply issues and other things, vis-a-vis Ukraine war, but I've not heard of the U.S. State Department sanctioning or banning Zastavas. Scott, and he retracted like a little turtle. Little turtle. User. Serbia doesn't necessarily have an export ban. It's more complicated than that. I will say though, and I said this last time, distributors are still getting in Zastavas right now. They're still available. I just had some of the RPK seven, the M72s come in, M90s, M70s. Now, 3 months from now, will they still be out there? Yeah, who knows? But they're still available right now. So you didn't miss the boat yet, Scott. Yeah, the zero tax thing. I've got to. But I'm gonna. Here's my plan. I'm gonna get the paperwork ready that December, and the minute it goes through, I'm gonna go in January to do it. That's assuming the government's still not freaking shut down at that point. Government shutdown crap's bullshit. Yep, and that's not exactly the same thing as banned here. And yeah, again, it's convoluted. Michael Birdsong. It's the tariffs. It certainly is the freaking tariffs when it comes to Switzerland. That 39% tariff on Swiss stuff is essentially just destroyed things. Sierra. I mean, that's just it. There are enough Zastavas that even on the used market. You can find a really nice one if you want to. Michael Birdsong with a green face. Okay. Green. I don't know. Jolly Green Giant. Mm. I'm gonna go. Do, 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 do. There isn't just a whole lot on the new market that intrigues me. I'll be honest. There do tend to be a surplus pistol or two that pop up that interest me, but those are niche items. One thing I'm kind of holding out for, I hope we do get, are Hungarian Tokarevs, the 48 Ms. They've never really been imported. They've made a good number of them. They have to be somewhere. So I'm just hoping one day a batch comes in. I would definitely. They're not different from any other Tokarev aside from just the crest on the grip, but still, I like. I've got all the other every other Hungarian thing, so might as well get a Hungarian Tokarev too. I was thinking about doing a fresh video looking up Makarovs. I mean, I haven't picked up any new ones, but Makarovs are really cool. They're just fun. Back in the day, you could pick one up for $100 or less. The round is pretty potent. I think they look nice in a calm block Walther way. I mean, it definitely looks exactly what it is. It's where the Soviet Union copied the PPK, and it lost some of its elegance, but it also gained strength and power. So it definitely fits. Plus, come on, they got those Bakelite grips with stars on them. It is just so classic. Now, the Tokarev itself actually fits my hand really well, the original. And you'd think that cartridge would be snappy, and to my mind, it is not. It's actually a pretty pleasant gun to fire. That is, unless you put the machine gun ammo in it, the submachine gun Tokarev stuff. That can not be good for your wrist or your pistol. That was always a concern when the machine gun stuff started coming in, was to make sure that you bought the stuff meant for the actual handguns. But if you did that, I thought it was fun. Yeah, J Ray was out here this weekend, Saturday, Sunday. He had to leave out to go back to work because lame. So just been out here working ever since. Just catching up on the comments. I went in to grab the coffee. Sierra says you grew up saying men are in your family saying government. And well, the thing is about tariffs, that's at least real. Like that is a thing that exists. That didn't exist. Now it exists, and it directly impacts prices. Like it's hard to argue at least those things. You can argue, are they good? Are they bad? Should they happen? Shouldn't they happen? But it's it's one of those things. Tariffs will raise prices. Bed. Yeah, I really think Zastava hit it out of the park with the M72. They delivered it and then some. In particular, I think it coming with the QD bipod and the slightly larger pistol grip is really cool. If you don't like that grip, fine. Take it off and put on a normal one. I've got a whole greasy Cosmoline bag of them out in storage, so not a big deal. But those wood grips are actually pretty comfy and made of pretty decent wood. They sometimes aren't heavily finished. You might want to go ahead and, add a little more, oil or shellac or whatever you like to them. Shoot, sometimes I just throw them in a big bucket of WD-40 and let them soak up. Scott, autocorrect. It's the lame accountant version of an Autobot. Hey, Cooper. Uh, kind of tired this evening. Not in a bad way. Just been working hard, and it's like I want to do something productive for an hour or so, but I just don't have the energy to keep editing videos. And yeah, a friend was here. He left at about 6:30 or 7, and just kicking back. And again, the same warning I'm giving periodically in this video. If I disappear, then it's that stupid memory leak again that caused it to crash. I think I might, cross fingers, have fixed it 2 weeks ago, but the only way to really test it is just to run this for an hour or two and see. Bed. I've seen double stack Tokarevs, which is kind of wild. Michael, yeah, I really don't know on those Romanian guns. I'm afraid if I spoke, I'd be lying one way or the other. I apologize. I had to sit and think about it. Sierra. Yeah, regardless, even if they disappear tomorrow, we had the Zastava ESA for several years, and they brought over new models, and they definitely have a higher quality gun compared to the Century guns that were brought over. Sierra. Yeah, what we'd probably have is the parts kits, because you could get the M70 AB2, M70 B1 kits, even the M72 kits, but it was great when actual factory guns started coming in. The M92 pistol was really cool. That was one of the first of its type to kind of bring out that whole deal. That and the Draco were amongst the first AK pistol imports. Yeah, it's like I'm thinking, would I want anything to be imported right now? I'm afraid whatever would come in would just be really, really high. I'm okay. I'm really surprised no one's brought up the Daewoo's yet. It seems to be a topic. Prediction: if they ever do come in, and I'm skeptical, not because I don't want them to, but just because I've been burned so many times before that I've become kind of cynical. But if they do come in, I'm just afraid the price point is not going to be what most people. I think this is the common refrain you're going to hear. Oh yeah, if they brought them in for what they originally said of 1,200, I'd buy 10 of them. No, they were never going to be as cheap, and that's on them for promising such a low price point at the beginning of the year. If they come in under 2,000, let's say under 1,800, I would be surprised. Just costs add up. They really do. Kind of talking about the IMI Galil guns coming back. I've said it before. The one I would love for them to do, and I would buy in a heartbeat, would be a Vietnamese military like style Galil Ace. I like that style. It's more traditional. It's being used, and even though I'm not pro-communist, I mean, good grief, I grew up in the Reagan era. Still, I do admire the Vietnamese independence and pluckiness because right after they got through fighting the French, they fought America. Then they got done doing that, and they decided to fight China. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. Like they will fight for their land and what they believe in, and I gotta believe in something like that. Sierra, huh, smash you over the head with the Daewoo's. Cooper, how did I? I mean, I do read. Um, a lot's from observation, like of parts kits that came in, of rifles that came in. A lot's just firsthand. It depends what it is. Like if you're talking like semi-autos, that's just mostly firsthand information that I have that over the years of just handling them. If it's the military guns, yeah, it's reading, talking with people when I was in Russia, and yes, sometimes it is inference. Sometimes it is estimates and best guesses because surprise, surprise, communist nations, even former communist nations, aren't always forthcoming with their records. Or who would have thunk this when people really didn't get paid? They didn't keep very good records to begin with. Not all the time. I don't mean, but some. Michael Birdsong. I mean, I did a video years ago with an original Mitchell and a current Zastava, and I sold the Mitchells. Now, part of that was, yeah, it was worth more money, of course, but I did not see enough of a quality difference to justify hanging on to the Mitchells. Does that help? Does that make sense? Was the Mitchells better? Yeah, probably. But keep in mind too, back then they imported a couple of thousand guns. They can afford to take their time. The current guns, I mean, Current imports are in the tens of thousands, much greater numbers. User. Okay. Uh, um, I want to be helpful, but it would almost be easier to talk with you on the phone about this sometimes. So shoot me an email, Ozark, Ozark, Bear, Bear, Arms, Arms, at Gmail. Um, this is what I say. Are you wanting a collectible gun? Are you wanting a shooting gun? That's my question. Scott. Yeah. If I had to hedge, part of me wants to say I think we will eventually get it, but I also think it'll be A, people will bitch about the price, and B, it will not be long before they compare it to pre-bans. And probably 5 minutes after the first person gets one in their hands in private hands, it'll be, this isn't as good as one from the 80s. Even if it's not true. That's just how people roll. I wish I had that crystal ball, buddy. I would be in the stock market. Simone. Fox isn't coming back in here, I can promise you that. Hey, thanks, Michael. Sierra. I think it has to do with Vietnam's connection and relationship with Israel vis-a-vis Arsenal. I think IWI was a better international partner. I'll tell you who knows a lot about this. Sammy the Dwarf. He is that's like talk about like TISM special interest. His is the Galil, and especially the Ace, and especially the whole Vietnamese thing. He knows quite a bit, and that's some of the inference I've said. I mean, Arsenal in Bulgaria, I know this is a shocker, can be a little difficult to deal with, not just for us. Simone, sometimes they're even difficult for Arsenal Incorporated to deal with. You like building. I mean, if you're going to build it, that's different. I kind of understand getting a kit to build yourself more than sending it off to some overpriced AK gunsmith. Michael Birdsong. Oh, no, I'm glad it did. I mean, I try to be straight with you. And again, I wish things could be more definitive. Sierra. Is it K-pop like making a big surge in America now? Did I mention I really love being alone out here on top of a mountain? Michael Birdsong. I did a video on the Type 56-2 earlier in the year. I could revisit okay, here's my four Chinese AKs that I own. I've got the 56-2. I've got the standard, just like AKS Spiker that you've seen. I've got the underfolder, that Cotton Customs gun that, frankly, I paid Mac 90 prices for back when they were cheap, and I thought the story was cool, so I kept it. And then I've got the Clayco, which I think is cool because it has the Bakelite furniture, and it's the first AK import outside of the Valmet. First Chinese for sure. You can argue that it's the first kind of AK shaped import, whatever. I really do need to sell one. I cannot decide which one. It's difficult. So those are what I have right now. Chinese guns I like, but they've never been like my big thing. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's weird, but I really like Hungarian AKs. I think they're neat. I wish there were more. I love Czech guns. Of course, the VZ-58 is one of my all-time favorites, and I wish there were more than like two or three military variants. I'd actually love an excuse to have another VZ-58. It's just, you get a fixed stock, you get a folder, you're kind of there. You're kind of done. I actually have already finished recording it, but there's going to be a lot of editing. I am doing an updated Russian AK-74 video, kind of in the same vein of how I did the milled AK transition to AKM early in the year, and then I did that RPK video. Well, I decided since I found the 545 ammo to talk about the transition from AKM to AK-74. The first video is just going to look at the original AK and AKS in that series. And then, of course, I'll do a follow up looking at the AK-74M and RPK-74M. And yes, it's just because I really want to mag dump the Vepr. But, I can make a video around that. But yeah, I'm kind of just, I can only revisit certain AKs so many times. And, when a new thing finally comes around, like the Asian contract, I'm all about it. But there just hasn't been. There are minor variations. I absolutely do not own every AK out there, but you get to the point when enough's enough. I don't want to have 50 AKs. That I don't know. It kind of seems boring. Like having more than two is cool, but you can get to the point where you're just getting repetitive. And I like variety. So what else you got for me? Looks like we've been going what about an hour? I definitely want to push it at least long enough to see if it's gonna have the memory leak error, and then it's up to you guys. I can stay here a bit, but I need to go fix some dinner at some point for myself. Again, Peanut already ate. This is how this works around here. Bed. When you say vented gas tubes, do you mean the ports on the metal tube in the front, or do you mean the upper handguard having the like little vent slots kind of cut yet the little rectangular ones? Michael Birdsong. Yeah, thanks on the video thing. I mean, I'm again, I'm not an expert on the Chinese guns like some are. Some people, that's their thing. I also know people that like live and breathe Yugo AKs, and while I know a decent amount about them, that's you can really go down that rabbit hole. I love the AMD 65. I like the look. I like how they shoot. I like that we got real imports. In fact, it was the last legitimate FEG product we ever got. I just like, and I love the price. Like, guys, they were 375 bucks new from Centerfire back in the day. Sierra, holy fuck! BZ-58s are up to 2 grand. That is one of those guns that has gone up and down 100 times. The last time I sold some, they were the Bakelite model, and I had to wait weeks for them to sell at like 13 or 1400. Which honestly, fair. I mean, chrome line barrel, milled receiver, super cool operating system, all unique parts. 2 grand. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. If I didn't own one, I think they're so cool. I'd still buy one at 2 grand. I wouldn't be happy about it, but if it makes you feel better, about 25 years ago, the only VC-58 you could get were from Ohio. I believe it was OOW, Ohio Ordnance Works, the guys who made the 1919. It might have been Ohio Rapid Fire, ORF, but I think it was the other one. One of the Ohio's. Anyway, they wanted $1,500 for their builds in like 2001 to 2005 money. And if you're thinking, hey, that was during the assault weapons ban, yes, it was. So no threaded barrels, no bayonet lugs. Michael Birdsong. Yeah, variety's good. I mean, you can really over specialize because if I got all the AKs, then I would not have resources to get Swiss guns or Beretta guns or whatever else.
And of course, I love my old guns too, my old bolt actions. I haven't bought many in years just because that era is kind of over. And one reason I got into them, I was fortunate. I It happened to be the right time, and I happened to meet the right people that kind of helped me get into them and see the joy. And I'm thankful for that. But I still would pick up a bolt action if I found a cool one now and again. I'd like to get a German G3340 one day. User. Buddy, I'm trying to read yours. If I'm skipping them, I greatly apologize. I can promise you it's not intentional. Bed. Okay, yeah, the ports in the tube. Yeah, the original AK 47, we'll just call it that for easy distinction, did not have ports in the gas block. Rather, they were in the tube. And that's part of kind of the AK's self adjusting, auto adjusting gas system, as it were. When they went to the AKM, though, they moved the ports from the tube to the gas block. But the thing is, some countries kept the ports on the tube for a little longer. I know some Hungarian guns did. And Yugoslavia never had a license to make the AK. They reverse engineered them. So a lot of your early guns like the M64 and even the early M70 still have them on the tube. And of course, the Chinese are much the same thing. The Chinese had a license to make the AK-47, is the Type 56. They never had the tooling, the TDP to make the AKM because by that time relations between Russia and China just went. It worked the same way with the MiG. If you look at Chinese MiGs, they greatly or MiG 21, I should say, they greatly resemble the earliest Russian MiGs. Anyway, they reverse engineered, and that's why the ports stayed with the Chinese guns. But Russian spec for the AKM got rid of them by 1960. Michael Birdsong. Yeah, bud. Good to see you. I know it's just kind of a random thing on a Wednesday. I promised I'd try to live stream more. I'll try to come on a more peak hour. I just I wanted to test. I think I've learned tonight. I'm not going to schedule these anymore. It hangs in that going live whenever I try to schedule them. So I'm just going to pop on, and if it takes everyone a little while to get here, cool. And since he did donate earlier, if anyone could drop in a couple of bucks, literally to pay for my coffee I'm drinking, because otherwise I'd probably have fallen asleep on you here. I'm going on about 3 hours, maybe 4 hours of sleep. Yeah, when I'm out here, I work my ass off. I'm not gonna lie. Fire 79. Oh, you're gonna have to register. I promise you. At least the way things are now, the stamp, the tax, the restrictions are not going away. The only thing that changed is they edited it from $200 to $0 for the fee. What's gonna crack me up is if administratively they force you to send in a check for 0.00. Like, just to say, oh, there was a blank check in the, or not a blank, a zero worth check in there. I mean, this is the federal government. Would you really be surprised? Flevers, that's a name. Yeah, we talked about not in great detail, but yeah, we talked about the FN Scar being shut down a little bit earlier. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why it hung on. I guess they just thought they would try to get contracts, but that was made for the U.S. and they didn't want it, and no one else really did. Part of it was the price tag. Part of it was it kind of came out at an awkward time. It was the hottest, newest thing when it came out, but then technology just leapfrogged it, and it started to look very old very quickly. User. I'm gonna be honest. For just a shooter, I still recommend WBP, especially find one with the FB rate and barrel. They all have forged trenders. Again, the guns, not the parts. They keep in mind WBP guns are built in Poland and imported here. They're not assembled in the US from parts. Again, I at least some of the websites selling quote unquote WBP parts, I think they're counterfeit. I think they're just saying, "Oh, they're parts from Poland, WBP." There's like 4 makers of AKM parts over there. I've had multiple WBPs for years. Every one of my friends has got one by now. None of us have had trouble. I've sold many to customers and no one's had trouble. I would say, and it's not a huge sample size, but well over 100 and no issues. Now I'm talking 762 by 39. Now I recently did an update video on the 545 WBP, having no troubles there either. The 556, I never was super interested in the WBP 556. In my opinion, if you're going to get a Polish 556, get a Baril. Bed. Yep, everyone treats the AK like it's just dirt simple. You should be able to make them for 20 bucks. No, no. The AK is both extremely simple and extremely refined. Keep in mind, the Soviets worked on that design, not just Mikhail Kalashnikov, but others too, to get to the AKM. That was a good 15-year process to kind of iron out everything and figure out just what worked perfectly. And they had teams of dozens and hundreds working on it. Like the 545 projectile. When you look at the team, it was like at the Central Research Institute in the 60s. The list of people on that team was over a dozen long, and that's just the named like main people. I'm sure they had plenty of understudies too. Thanks, Michael. I didn't really mean for you. I appreciate it. Everyone else can. You've done your part, bud, but I appreciate it. But have a good night. I said I'm gonna turn into. I'm gonna go visit family tomorrow, and I'm gonna try to do that 74M video in the morning, and then see family in the afternoon, and go grab a good meal. I've been kind of living on my own cooking and busy, so I've just kind of been slacking off. Good news is I'm losing weight. Sierra. I mean, I could. I mean, I'm not in the market for a VZ58, so I just haven't looked. I believe you. I checkpoint is checkpoint, but again, what's the tariff rate on the Czech Republic right now? I don't know. It's a serious question. Scott. Oh, look at the talking about government screwing things up. Look at the freaking Sergeant York tank. Remember that? Oh my God. Bed. Oh yeah, FB Radom. I mean, it's nothing. Well, keep in mind too. FB Radom has used parts from WBP as a subcontractor, and WBP, especially in the past, but even now, uses parts from FB Radom. So they have a relationship. But yeah, FB Radom's a government thing, but they don't make a classic AKM. They make the Baril, and even that's become harder to get as production is wrapped up there to go over to the garage. They made, of course, the Baril in 556. That's the big deal. The mini Baril pistol in 556, and we did get some Baril 7.62 39s, but it's a modern style gun. So if you want modern, if you can find one, they're great. But if you're wanting a classic AKM look, that's not really the route to go. And they're pretty spendy too. I don't know what Brills are selling for right now, but you're going to get closer to 2,000 than 1,000 bucks. Hey, Stefan, 101. Prefix. Sorry, took me on a prefix. Hello. I just email me and we can talk on the phone and stuff. I'll I'll try to be straight with you. You know, I got a lot of AK experience. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I've seen weird things come and go, and I've kind of seen what does and doesn't work. And nothing's perfect. No one's perfect, but I'll try to at least tell you what I know and be square with you. For one thing, I don't have any in stock right now, so if I sold you one, I had to order it anyway. So it's not like I've got it sitting here that I'm just wanting to move. I could easily order anything else you wanted. So that's one at least thing you can take. Sarah, that's the honest to truth. The WBPs are great quality for what they are for an AKM, especially the 7.62 39 guns. Especially the 5.56. I think they fixed their accuracy issues. Even they admitted their first barrels in 5.56 were not great. But the 7.62s are pretty crackerjack. Scott. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, you get a part online. Who's to say where it came from? A part. And there, there's that Beratum. There's the Circle 11. There's a couple of other small makers. It just stuff can get lost along the way. Now, complete guns, you know where they came from, and more importantly, they were checked. They were headspace. They were checked at the factory. It's just far less of a chance for a bad part to make it through the mix. Bingo. Hey, man. Yeah, I'm trying to see. And if, again, bingo, if I leave, that's because I'm testing to see if I fix the memory error my computer was having. But had a little time tonight. My buddy Jerry was over. He left out, and I was like, I don't really want to sit down making another video or clean or do anything. So I'll do this because I said I'd try to do it more often. Anything up with you? Good night, Michael. Man, if you'd asked me beforehand if sepsis was a good time, I could have told you it's not. You should have just checked with me first. It's not a recreational illness. So next time, I advise pass user. Yeah, and here's the thing, user. By January, the whole market, the whole landscape could change. That's 3 months away. The gun world, the import world especially, but the gun world even in general can change on a dime. And it can work in your favor sometime. Sometimes it can't. Simone, I like the Alarms of America. I think you mean Arms of America. But yeah, the Alarms of America is hilarious. Simone, here's the thing. At Arms of America, I've known Andrew, the original owner who had to sell it when he got divorced. He still works there as a consultant. He's good people. If you actually got parts from him that didn't work, I feel like he would make it right. I trust him. With every reservation. Everyone can recommend a friend, but I've known him for a good long while as a business person, and I feel like he's just one of those people that I can get behind. So I don't think he would pull any shady stuff, and if you did have a broken part, I feel like he would address it. Yeah, Simon. Yeah, anytime. I'll try to live stream more often, especially these next couple of months because hunting season starts on Saturday, so I won't be able to do as much shooting for a little while. So good time to do live streams. Sierra. Yep, so like everyone's kind of heading to. I'll probably let this roll just a little bit longer to hit that benchmark on time, and then I'm gonna go cook stuff. Anything else? I did post a couple of early release videos over on Patreon for those guys. I finally did review the Sig, the Swiss Sig SG563, and put up a video on a bit of a white whale gun of mine that I finally acquired over there. In fact, it's been coming for like a year, 2 years, but patience. uh, that's kind of my new gun news. Still having fun with the Cimarron stuff. I finished a video on the U.S. Cavalry trapdoor in 4570. Jera and I did that one. Bingo. Yep. Plus, man, they don't let you have guns in the hospital. I don't know why. You're bored. I mean, what else are you gonna do? I would lose my mind with the only entertainment being television. User. I mean, I have known Blaine, the owner of Atlantic, for 25 years. He's a rough around the edges, no nonsense guy. He calls out BS, but he's also a straight shooter. So yeah, I would definitely. I mean, I've bought guns from Atlantic for 25 years. I'll say that. Some imports, some of their own builds. Sorry. Was there any KY jelly on the Sig? I that was the smell. Thank you. I was kind of trying to pin it down what that was. I really shouldn't have licked my fingers afterwards. Simone. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Text to speech, speech to text is a thing. I do like Chat GPT. It's useful. Like I was doing conversions today on bullet weights from grams to grains and things like that. And for that, I love AI. It's great for that stuff. Scott, I love break action. I will say the Cimarron Smith and Wesson top breaks that I've been stocking have sold really well. Those seem to be really popular, and they're a lot of fun. I still can't decide if I like the Russian or the Schofield more. Bingo. Good God, if my videos kept you sane, then yeah, I'll help pay the therapy bill. It's kind of why I was doing the old West guns. And it's not just me. YouTube views and not just gun channels. It seems like whatever is happening, channels of all kinds of topics all across the board have been reporting extreme below average views lately. Not even just income, but views. I guess they're rejiggering the algorithm again. I can tell you they've started a new campaign about videos. For a few months there, I was doing really good with monetization and everything, and now not only have they been become a lot more picky about that, but they've actually removed several videos up until like July of this year. In all the years I've been on here, two videos were actually removed from YouTube. Since July, I think I've had like six, and they're all older ones. They're not new ones. Like some of them were 2014. I think the latest one was 2018. Videos that have been up for years, no problems. They didn't just demonetize. They said, "Up, this is no longer allowed." And it wasn't any, me. It wasn't anything aggressive, offensive, or bad. So I don't know what they're doing. Bed. Yeah, I mean Atlantic and whatnot. I get it. I know them very well. User. I don't know. I guess I'm just lucky. I haven't had trouble with my Grom ammo and corrosion. I don't know, but then again, I believe people that do because that's the nature of surplus. You can have 49 cartridges out of 50 with non-corrosive primers, and then one stinking corrosive primer slips in there. The best thing to do is just clean your guns afterward to be safe and check. Usually, what I'll do is I'll clean them and I'll just routinely check them every 12 hours. Because if you catch that early, it's not a big deal. Bed. I'll be honest, I rarely buy AK parts. I have bought parts kits before that are from D-mill guns. I've never had any desire to buy virgin parts and make a new gun. To me, that's not what parts kits are for. That's just me. If I do a parts kit build, it's because I want to replicate like a 1968 FB gun or a 1972 Tula or whatever. If I'm going to do a new production gun, I'm just going to buy a straight import. Bingo. Man, you'd think that, but I just sold my Japanese paratrooper and it weren't a bad time to sell it. And I've had a few other guns that went. It's weird. I think the high end, weird, rare collectible stuff is actually doing well, but you're kind of more run of the mill collectible stuff. I don't know. What were you kind of thinking, Simone? Sorry, man. I'm not that kind of gunsmith that makes parts. It's cool people that do. Those Spanish copies of guns are fascinating. Simone. Yeah. What else you guys got for me while we kind of wrap things up? I wish bayonet videos got more views. I like doing bayonet videos. They're easy. They're fun. Bayonets are a lot more affordable to collect than guns. Have just as cool a pedigree. As I said at the top of the video, my friend came by and he found a British number 7, the Land Services bayonet, the weird one with the pivoting hilt. Is it a great bayonet design? No, it's pretty awful. But as a collectible, it's freaking badass because it's just weird. And he also brought me a Japanese Type 30 bayonet, kind of a transitional model I was needing for my own collection. And we did some horse trading on a couple of ARs and whatnot. And oh, he left like a holster here that I think is a East German Ministry of the Interior holster for a PPK. Sure looks like it. It's marked MDI, which I believe is East Germany, the Ministry of the Interior Police. I know they made them for Makarovs, but it looks a little too slim for a Makarov. I think it's PPK. Just little stuff like that. That's where I get some of my, he does a lot of pawn shopping, yard selling, and goes to a lot of the small gun shows that these communities hold. And, he gets a little bit of a finder's fee from me. And there's been some good stuff he's brought in. Just catching up on the chats, guys. Oh, yeah. Warren, yeah, the Savage Indian marked. That's a model 1907. It should say 1905 patent date on it. Yep, those are cool. I've got one that was French military contract. They use quite a few. That was 10 shots quick was their thing. They got Wild Bill Hickok to promote them back in the day. One of the very first double stack guns available. Yeah, I get that, Simone. I like restore when there's just like one or two parts. I like restoring guns too. Survival instincts. You know, funny you mentioned plum mags. I was literally just talking about that today on the video I was recording. Um, yeah, because I have opinions on those, and I still think Arsenal K-Bar Plum is hideous. I'm blind and it's hideous, so I can't even imagine what you poor guys have to suffer through. Yuza. Ah, that's a pretty fucking cursed Mosin, dude. Because I'm assuming to get the ATI scope rail, he drilled and tapped it. That kills it, and then he bent the bolt handle. That kills it because it's a serial part. I mean, best case, he at least he put a bent bolt handle from a different. He bought a bolt and put it in, and he kept the original straight handle. But here's the thing: there are so many 9130s out there. Why settle for one that's been humped? When you drill and tap a gun, it destroys the value. Now, if I'm talking out of my butt and there's a non-destructive way that he did it with, that's better. But there's a ton of those still in the country. Simone, yeah. Sometimes I like to find. Sometimes I get the knife first, and then I fit the gun that fits on the end of the knife. At least that's the excuse I use. That's how I ended up with a P57. Whizzer. Hmm. Guys, I like guns, but I think if I could magically see, I'd do a lot of other things before looking at guns. Sorry, other priorities. But if you had to say, probably like honestly, like an old West gun, like color case hardened. That seems more interesting. Something that had really dynamic bluing, different colorations. Because I really don't know what color case hardened looks like. I know in my in a mathematical sense, in a descriptive sense, I understand it as well as I can anything. But I think a lot of those guns would be kind of attractive just to look at, frankly. And that gun will be on top of porn. Bingo. Hmm. Yeah, Smith and Wesson. If you've got a Model 28, it's nice. I've been looking for one for the collection. I also like the old women's squeezers. I wish you had a Colt 1892. I've been kind of looking for one of the government marked ones, maybe police, but yeah, it's a gap in my collection. I go from the single action army to the 1917, and it kind of bugs me. But as far as your 1903 A4, I don't know what those are currently going for. Sniper guns, but scoped guns tend to be more volatile than others, up and down and sideways. I mean, I'm sure it's not nothing, but that's not really my particular field of expertise because, well, pretty obvious reasons. But I do have buddies, so yeah, I know you have my email. I can, get some details from you and run it by a couple of collector friends that are into sniper guns, and at least let you know what they feel is the current value, and you can decide from there. I get it, man. Like I said, this month I've sold like three guns that are valuable that I didn't want to, but I also knew like, hey, these are guns that I can easily move if I need to free up money. And there's one or two more I might have to do before the month's over. User. Hey, there's nothing wrong with Spanish guns. I've got several Spanish Mausers. I've got a Mars imported Spanish Setme that's frankly fantastic. So yeah, they can make a good gun. If nothing else, I've got an old beat up Ruby that I freaking love because it's just cool. Warren. Well, user. Yeah, but how did he put that rail on? Did he find a non-destructive way to do it, or did he drill and tap the receiver? The most fucked up thing I ever saw, you know, the Craig, the Springfield. Someone drilled and tapped a Craig on the bolt. Yeah, they mounted a scope to the extractor of a Craig. Yeah, survival instinct. Yeah, thanks. Not according to that dude today who was raking me over the coals for the finish on that Type Zero buttstock. Go check out the video I posted this morning. Some dude was arguing with me about Type 99s having boiled linseed oil. Like, no, they weren't. They were Urushi lacquer. Um, I don't know. It just seems like a guy that just wants to pick a fight, and that kind of cracks me up. Again, I was in academia. Trust me, there's egos there. I don't know, and of course I know that I'm blind. So, as best as I do, there are going to be things, but I definitely know that Type 99s from the factory were not boiled linseed oil. Mhm. Well, it's 10:02. We're kind of getting to that point that if this is going to crash, it should be coming pretty soon. Like we're coming up on an hour and a half or even more so. It's never an exact time, but it seems like it's around the hour and a half to 2 hour mark. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else going on. Um, Not really. Talked to my distributors. Those Walther P99 final editions have been selling pretty well. One of my distributors had a really good buy on them, and I bought maybe half a dozen, and I think I've sold them all. Cool gun. That's gonna be one of those guns people regret not getting because they priced the final edition at what the regular P99 used to go for. Jade took one, so don't know. I hope Walther does a commemorative Bundeswehr edition of the PDP, the P14, P14K, in the correct colors and feature. I would definitely go for that. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, if it's drilled in, that gun's worthless. I don't mean to be mean, but it is. Like once you drill and tap a receiver, it it's over. Like that gun has no collectible value. Simone, wow, survival instincts. No, I don't have a website. I tried for years to get one, do this. And I don't really need it, guys. I'm busy enough as it is, pulling my hair out half the time. Last thing I need is yet one more thing to keep track of. Simone, there you go. See, now you're getting it. I've got a Turkish M1 Grand bayonet. It's weird. It has metal grip scales and just it's crude. It's cool but crude. Simone, M1. I would love to have found the real M1A1 paratrooper, but I never could trust them. Every time I found one that was told, "Oh, this is original," I just either I knew it wasn't, or I just didn't trust the seller enough. Either his honesty or just his knowledge base to go with it. It's so hard to get authentic M1A1s, and I'm not gonna pay that kind of money and not know for sure because my luck I'd get it home and realize, rut-row. The only reason I have a Winchester trench gun is because it came from a buddy that I trust and everything checked out. He'd been in the business since the 70s, so Yep. I mean, it's his gun. He can shoot it. Have fun with it. I'm just saying, as far as value, it's toast at that point. Sadly, Wizard. Sure thing, man. I've got a lot more coming up. I've been working hard the last few days and whatnot. Got a big one coming up on Friday. YouTube's just running me through the ringer editing videos to get past their censors lately. So I usually have to upload 2 or 3 times to get it approved. But oh well, such is life. Alrighty, guys. I'm gonna give like a 5 minute warning. Any last minute stuff? Again, I'm trying to think if there's been anything that I can think of. New news I've heard, but not really. Talked with Dave at JDI. The 563s are coming in, but with the current stuff going on, he's not sure where that'll go to. Sales are really down for him. People just don't have the money to pay that much, and I get it. I don't know when I'll have the 563 video up on YouTube. It's up on Patreon, but I'm still trying to get it approved. I just actually made another edit today right before jumping on here, so then I was gonna upload it afterwards, see if it is acceptable to them. They're getting where they really don't want any kind of disassembly in videos, even for like cleaning. Survival instincts. Not quite a metalhead. A little bit quieter than that, especially when I was younger. When I was a kid, I loved a lot of the 60s, 70s stuff. Not quite full blown psychedelic, but close. Smashing Pumpkins' favorite band back then. Nine Inch Nails was really into them. That really helped my teenage angst that we all have. I like acoustic though too. Like I always liked when rock songs were done acoustic. I don't know, something about it just comes through. I think it was the Nirvana MTV Unplugged album that really got me into that kind of stuff of like an alternative version of a song you never thought of. Try to think of the heavier stuff I do like. Um, there's definitely some. Have to kind of think about it for a minute. Bingo. I mean, non-dealers. I mean, you mean guns or just stuff? User. I mean, I'm happy to make guns on anything. I have done 1 or 2 Mexican guns. I did a Mexican contract, Arasaka, which is years ago. South American, one of my favorites is Argentina. I've also done Chilean and Brazilian guns, especially like the Mausers. I don't have it anymore, but I had a Venezuelan FN-49 at one time. So yeah, sure. Yeah, the problem if you go too obscure, people won't know what it is, so they either don't search for the video or they see it, they don't click on it. I've discovered that. Like there's a sweet spot between not being repetitive and boring, but also if you pull it out of your rear as just something completely off the wall, that can kind of blow back on you too. Warren, um, 50, okay, you say you have a 54 M Grand. Question: is the barrel dated 54? What's the receiver date? Who, in fact, who made it? Is it Springfield, Winchester, Hangner, Richardson, International Harvester? Bingo. Yeah, bingo. Guns on gun. Here's the thing: most receiving dealers won't even accept a gun from a non-FFL. So I guess if they can find a local dealer to take it, You also run the risk of what if the gun was stolen or something. I mean, there's far less assurance there, but if someone wants, I guess as long as it's disclosed, as long as they say, "Hey, I'm not a dealer," it would make me a little nervous. It wouldn't be a 100% deal breaker, but I'd want to talk with the person. Here's the thing: if it's a '54 Springfield, it's possible it was rebarreled in '54. I don't know. Have you looked at the serial number to see if it matches? As far as where it would have seen use, I mean, those guns were used as guard guns, drill guns, training guns, practice guns, ceremonial guns. Just because the M14 came in '57, the M14 had a real rough time getting up and going. A lot of units didn't even see them till the early to mid '60s. So there's a good decade there that could have seen use. And if it was handed to a National Guard unit or a lot of those parade and ceremonial guns have a kind of hard life. They get thrown in trunks and tossed around or dropped, and I could see it. And of course, there's always a chance that it was given to a foreign ally. There were still places wanting Garans in the '50s and '60s too. Same to you, user. Good night. Well, let's wrap up our couple of current conversations, and then I'm going to head off too. Looks like it's about 10:15 for here. Yeah, Warren, I'll try to come in again more. Right? Maybe on Saturday if I have time or Sunday. Weekends seem to be a little more popular. Bingo. I mean, a lot of dealers say they won't. Maybe it's a cover their butt thing. I mean, I don't know. Everyone's different. Um, I know it's a lot more complicated for states like California to get it in. Yeah, I mean, dealers can make their own policies. I'm hungry now. I don't feel like cooking. I wish there was DoorDash in the mountains. Mountain Dash. They could use birds. They could like have birds drop off like a bag of Taco Bell. That would be awesome. I actually eat very little fast food. I can't even remember the last time I had some. Bed. There you go. Drone food. Just like bomb them with food. Just make sure you order something soft and fluffy. Hey, Skinwalker. Yeah, here's the problem with those Squatch. He smells like. You ever get a driver? And maybe they're a nice person, but they've got that body odor funk going on. You're like, I know it's fine. I know the food's in the bag, but man, yeah. And Squatch is 10 times worse. He's just got a smell. Hey, JC. Yeah, I'll try to get on again with it being hunting season. I'm not gonna be able to do as much shooting. Of course, it's gonna get darker, maybe colder eventually. Maybe I don't know. I'm skeptical. Maybe it'll come about the same time as the debuts. But yeah, I've still got quite a few videos I need to edit. Bingo. Yeah, shoot me an email, Bingo. See what's going on. Definitely been doing a lot more revolver stuff myself lately. Julian, I'm glad you like the Japanese. And yeah, that's kind of the thing. A lot of people don't collect them. I'm not trying to get them to. I'm just, this is something kind of neat that maybe people don't really know about. Alrighty, guys. Anyone want to drop in a last minute little donation, just something, and then I'm gonna call it a night. The, the the thing seems to have not crashed. Knock on swing. So that's good at least. Even though I think I'm not gonna try scheduling. I don't know what it is, but it hangs on the going live thing every time I try that. It's strange. I don't know. It's computers for you. I understand that, man. Like I say in every video, it's not a, it's always just an ask. It's not a demand. I'm not. I never got into this to make money. I just try to cover my costs too. It's definitely a labor of love because if I billed by the hour, I would be losing my ass. I put a good chunk of time into everything around this, and it's because I want to. It gives me purpose. It gives me something. I like being creative. I really do. It to me, it's rewarding. Oh boy, turkey shotguns. Turkey, they can make a good gun, and I've said this before. But the issue there is quality control. It's final checking. If a gun is lucky, the parts are good, the fit's good, it'll be fine. But there is just not a ton of checking going on to make sure that's the case when they leave the factory. So you kind of gets what you gets. Okay. Bad as my speech says, Misha, goat, turquoise, white horns. Okie dokie. I have no idea. Eh, I'm old, but I'm okay with it. You ever see those channels where there's like grandpa running it, like 70, 80-year old? He's just like an adorable old man who's just super into like model trains or something. Those make me feel good. It's just nice to just see guys in their retirement just enjoying it on there just for the sake of it. Dave told me he talked with Larry Vickers just the other day, and he's still, you know, getting through. He's obviously had just one knock after another the last few years, but he's still hanging in there. You gotta admire the man's determination and spirit. Goatman. What do I have to cook here that is low effort that actually won't taste like ass? I had some beef tips I cooked the other night that were good. I've got one more of those. I was kind of saving them. Maybe that'd be a good thing tonight. Alrighty. Oh, actually, it's getting cold enough out here. My joints are getting stiff. I actually do like listening to some of the weird story channels on here about different things: Sasquatch, aliens, goatmen. Uh, how serious do I take them? They're entertaining. Some are definitely more believable than others, but that doesn't matter if the narrator's good. You know what really pisses me off, and I'm sure I'm not alone in this. There's a lot of great narrators on YouTube, has been forever. When you see a video like this, and you click on it, it's a robot voice. The freaking robot voice channels are just driving me crazy. And it's not just the voice. I swear, a lot of them, the script is actually written by Chat GPT too. And it's just like, no, that's something that YouTube and people on YouTube are gonna have to put their foot down about. Again, ChatGPT AI has its purpose. I use it all the time, but not for that, not for anything creative. Bed. Yeah, you gotta cook that piece first, though. It's a lot easier when it just, comes to you. Mm, donuts. I said I'm gonna go into town maybe tomorrow or Friday and eat out. Maybe go to a Thai restaurant or something, just to say I did. I get to working out here and don't always eat enough sometimes. Hey, Diamonds. Same to you. Good night. I'll try to come back in a few days. Family stops by quite a bit on the weekends, so we'll see how they're here and stuff. Alrighty, folks. I'm gonna call it there. Appreciate everyone helping me out tonight. Sorry I was tired. We hit over 2 hours, so looking for the end stream button. They move stuff around on me. All right, guys, hitting the end. Appreciate everyone, and I'll be around and got quite a few new videos in the works. Catch you next time.